Hello, and welcome to this YouTube channel, Highly Sensitive Wisdom. My name is Susanna, and today's topic is cultivating gratitude. So in last video, we were talking about how to deepen your relationship with God and receive your blessings. And I gave a few, strategies or a few things you could do, to put yourself in receiving mode and, make your blessings rain over you, so to speak. So one of the things that I was sharing is how to cultivate gratitude, or well, not so much how to, that's what we will talk about today, but I was explaining that cultivating gratitude is one of the things that you can do to put yourself in receiving mode. So we will dive a little bit deeper into that, and that is a very powerful tool in your everyday life, both for your spiritual growth, your personal growth, and to truly manifest the reality that you desire for yourself. Because as you know, we are bombarded with stimuli trying to feed us at all times with negativity, and you need to counteract that with focusing where you want to focus. All right, but first things first. So if you enjoy this content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and share your key takeaways and your aha moments in the comments, so we can inspire each other, and also so the algorithm can recommend this content to more people. All right, so thank you for that. Yeah, so gratitude. So one of the most important things that we need to understand, both when it comes to gratitude, but also all kinds of things, is that everything is energy, and we have been indoctrinated and brainwashed in the matrix to only see and only understand what is physical and material. That which we can perceive with our senses. Our sight, our hearing, our taste, our smell, and so forth, and our touch. And that is just a very tiny, very tiny portion of what reality is. In reality, there's so much more. And for instance, Abraham Hicks speaks a lot about this, how our physical part is only a small part of us, here on planet Earth, but the larger part of ourselves is the non-physical part in the spiritual world. So what we experience here and what we see here is just a fraction, of who we are truly. And when we understand that, and we start to work with energies, and we start trying new things, and we try to, for instance, implement, a practice of cultivating gratitude on a daily basis, things start happening, let's say in our favor. Well, that's how we will experience it. It's not really in our favor. It's just that we align ourselves with how the universal laws work, and how, we are more aligned with the heart of God also when we dwell on gratitude. So that is like, we just align ourselves with the lane that will take us to where we want to go and take us there faster. I should probably explain that, energy exists on many different levels, many different frequencies. So we have, the very low vibrating things, like some of the lowest are like shame, apathy, fear. And our societies in Western contemporary cultures are so very fear-based. So they keep us stuck on very low frequencies, and that is by design. That's part of the matrix. So it is designed to keep us on low frequencies, so that we will experience a lot of struggles in our lives, and we will be, dealing with problems and all kinds of difficulties. And many people don't even know that they have the possibility to, raise the frequency, and therefore experience more flow, more ease, more grace in their lives. Have new opportunities coming their way. And we can all choose where we want to focus. So the mind, I have been mentioning this, but maybe not developing it in detail, but the mind truly is a magnifier. It's like a magnifying glass. So what we focus on with our mental attention, that will grow in our life experience. And therefore, as much as there are, attempts to standardize us and say, oh, we are all the same, and, keep us small and keep us, like, how do you say, like animals almost, like cattle, like we have to be, in a group, and we are all the same, and we are standardized, and our individual differences and our individual passions and talents and our unique selves are like diminished, or like we can't really express them authentically because there are others who will like, yeah, you have to conform to the group, you have to conform to the societal expectations and norms, and that creates a lot of frustration for a lot of people. And just the fact of being out of alignment with our true selves will cause suffering for us. It will cause problems for us. And in many cases, that will manifest in our physical body, as pain or all kinds of symptoms or anxiety or even panic attacks, because we're so far away from alignment, so out of alignment with who we truly are, that will also be a hindrance for us. So one of the things that you can do to, flip that and, change your focus is by, focusing on gratitude very stubbornly, because you do have that power, where you want to spend your awake time. So when we cultivate gratitude, what it does, for one, as I said, you use your mind to amplify and magnify your intentions and bring more things into your experience to be grateful about. We also rewire our brain to see things that maybe we didn't see previously, because we are also training. So the brain and the mind, they are two different things. In many, I mean, books, articles, all kinds of contexts, I have seen this used interchangeably, mind and brain, as though they were synonyms, but they are not. They are two different things. The brain is an organ, with a physical organ with physical properties and physiological aspects, the functioning of the brain. And the brain, coordinates tons of stuff in the body, and, is in charge of making sure that the information flows within your nervous system and so forth. Your brain is responsible for your movement also. So there are many different functions to the brain, and that's, the functionality or the physiology of the brain. And then it's the physical aspects, like shape and form and volume and color, And then the mind, it is a device. So the mind is, it's not physical. It's a device. It's a computer, basically. And oftentimes we use those as synonyms because their functions overlap. But it's important to separate those because, your mind is a magnifying glass, and you choose your focus. And by choosing your focus, you can empower yourself, or you can disempower yourself. And the brain will respond accordingly to your focus. So it's like, through the synapses of the neurons in the brain, new pathways will be created. So when you repeat a lot of things, like habits, behaviors, or focus, that will end up, when it's repetitive, that will end up creating new pathways in your brain, how the different neurons connect to each other and how information is being transmitted between those neurons. So your focus will also have a direct impact on the neurological pathways in your brain. But they are still two separate things. And that is important to understand because many times in the matrix, our minds are being hijacked, and it's being hijacked by negativity. And then as soon as it gets into the subconscious, as we have been seeing in previous videos, things continue going on autopilot. And that's why it's so dangerous when we get things into the subconscious that we didn't choose actively or that we didn't opt in for. And therefore, and that's, now I'll start talking about the actual gratitude thing. So gratitude is a very high frequency energy, it's a very high frequency intention. And there are so many things we have to be grateful for, but usually we kind of miss those because many of us, I'd say most of us in Western contemporary societies, we live in a state of constant stress. We are like, you've all heard this expression, the hamster wheel or the rat race. Like we are always running after goals or running after all kinds of things or objectives, and just being stressed out most of the time. And what that does one of the many things that it does to us is it keeps us with a tunnel vision. So we don't see, the whole perspective, the whole spectrum of things. We just see a very small part of reality because we have tunnel vision. So it's very easy to get stuck in negativity, and it's easy to get stuck, focusing on the problems. And then what happens is that your mind will magnify those problems and bring you more problems because that's where your focus is. And the universal laws, including the law of attraction, which works very much through the focus. The universal laws suppose or assume that we are sovereign beings, and that we are choosing what we focus on. So yeah, being hijacked is not something we chose, but still the universal laws will keep carrying out the effects of that. All right. So when we choose gratitude, we make a radical shift in our focus. And obviously it's not only mind-based, it's also in our heart, because feeling gratitude and dwelling on gratitude is a very empowering state to be in, and brings joy and calm and peace and happiness, and just we recover the sense of awe for the beauty of life that most of us kind of lose when we enter adulthood and we enter the market, the work market, and all the stress and all the demands and all the responsibilities and all the constraints of being always focusing on, I have to make money, I have to achieve things, I have to perform, I have to many people believe they have to put on a social mask in social situations, and they cannot really express who they are, and all those things bring us further away from gratitude. So there are a few things you could do to shift the focus and to start cultivating that as a conscious choice. So one thing you can do is writing a gratitude journal. I did that for 7 years daily. And after 7 years, I felt, now this habit is so very ingrained in me, so I don't need to write it down anymore. I can just, keep focusing on gratitude in my mind and in my heart without writing it down. But that was a great tool to get started, because that kept me accountable and also prepare me for sleep, because I would write in my gratitude journal, in the evening before going to bed. So what I would do, I would write at least one thing, but sometimes more things from that day that I was grateful about. And there are really no rules. Some people say, oh, you have to write 3 things or 5 things, whatever. But when we have a lot of rules, that can kind of constrict us also. That can be counterproductive, because then you'll be focusing on the rule and not so much the state of dwelling on gratitude. So even if it's just one thing per day, that's a great start. Just get started and then keep going. So what you do, you take a journal, and I bought very beautiful diaries that were they were so beautiful, so it was a pleasure writing in them just for the sake of the aesthetics of the journal. It felt like a moment of reverence. So I would write the date of the day, and then I would remember what had happened that day, and I would always find at least one thing to be grateful about. And then the more I practiced it, surprise, surprise, the more things I found to be grateful about. So both the fact that I would attract more things to be grateful about because I attracted them with my focus, but also because, as I said, the brain gets rewired to seek more things to be grateful about. So now, for instance, when I often do prayers of gratitude to God, and for instance, I go for a walk in nature or by the sea, and I just start saying, thank you, God, for this, thank you, God, for that, thank you, God, for this, and thank you for that. And I can go on like that for at least 20 minutes nonstop, and and it just flows through me. I don't have to make an effort anymore, because it became part of my lifestyle. It became part of my everyday I'd say lifestyle hygiene, even, because it helps clear out negativity from your mind and from your heart, because all of us at some point we accumulate resentment, even bitterness, other disempowering emotions, because we have all had experience with other people where we were disappointed or deceived or betrayed, or like we poured a lot into the relationship and they didn't. And all those things will accumulate and create a weight for us, and those things will also, they will pollute us on the inside, So cultivating gratitude is a great way to clear out some of that. And what is important also is that you don't have to tell other people, like you could, thank people for things, because most people appreciate that. But you have to be careful, because if you are in very toxic environments, like the environments I was in France, which I have been explaining in previous videos, that can actually shoot you in the foot. Because when people are very toxic and extremely focused on negativity and gossipy, and they have bad intentions, and they see you as a threat, or they want to take your place and so forth, gratitude can also in that case backfire, because they will see it like you're submissive to them, like they have power over you, they want to dominate you, and they see that as a sign of weakness, like people pleasing, let's say, because they do not cultivate gratitude, and they probably don't work on themselves, they don't do the inner work, they don't invest into personal development and personal growth, and maybe they are not very spiritual people either, because not everyone is. Highly sensitive people usually have a natural tendency towards spirituality, because we perceive so many things on subtle levels that most people miss. So for us it becomes natural often to have a spiritual side to us. So I say highly sensitive people are more prone, I'd say, in many cases, to find it empowering to work with gratitude. So gratitude journal is one thing you can do. And also, affirmations, focusing, it's truly a matter of focus and seeing the beauty of things, seeing beauty in life, seeing beauty of, existence, because truly it's a wonder to be alive at all. It's a miracle to be here. And so many things that could have gone wrong, so many things that could have erased us from the map, so many things that could have ended things for us before time, and we are still here. So that is in and of itself a miracle and a cause for celebration and gratitude, and other things you can do. I mean, prayer also is a great way to expressing gratitude. That's what I do now. After those 7 years with the gratitude journal, now I express gratitude through prayer directly. I also sing, worship songs to God every morning to start my day. And that immediately fills me with gratitude, because when we have that connection with the Creator and we have that start to our day, and like it creates a protection for us, spiritual protection, because there's so many forces in society and in the world that want to drag us down, that want to keep us stuck in negativity, that want to keep us stuck in low frequency states and low frequency realities, because truly our frequency will create our reality. So there are many, like mass media, like social media, like toxic work environments, like people who are very passive aggressive, and instead of doing something to change their circumstances, or their their life circumstances, like changing a job or moving to another city, or changing a romantic partner, or remaking their friends groups, or whatever they need to do to get unstuck and to feel happier in their life, or doing therapy, or maybe work through trauma, whatever it may be. There's so many things that could keep people in stuck places and feeling, being passive aggressive, because they feel like they don't have power over their life, or they feel rejected, or whatever, or they don't feel appreciated, and all those things will create negativity. And most of us, if we are in the workforce and we are employed, most people are, then we will be exposed to a lot of negativity that way also. So it really is up to us to carve out time and to make a conscious effort to focus on the things that matter to us. And it goes without saying, also cut out negativity through I mean, I boycott social media. I don't watch the news since 10 years back. I don't pollute my mind and my heart with those kinds of sources of negativity. And that is also greatly helpful for cultivating gratitude, because as your frequency goes higher and higher, it like, yeah, then gratitude isn't even a conscious, daily practice anymore. It's just part of who you are, because the higher up you come on the frequency scale, the energetic scale of consciousness, the higher up you come, the closer you get to the creator also. And then things are really very beautiful. And yeah, you will see beauty all over. So it's both, a conscious choice to cultivate it and make it a priority, and, make the carry out these practices, to get into that state. But then once you make it a lifestyle, you will experience more flow. It just gets, I'd say beautiful is truly the best word here, because you see the beauty of life, you see the beauty of creation, you see the beauty even of your past struggles, because they helped you grow and evolve, and they taught you many things that you didn't learn in school, or you didn't learn, studying or working, like things that you needed to learn. Because suffering can be a harsh teacher, but usually that's also when we're motivated to try something radically different, to get out of that situation, and that's also when we make a leap in our own growth. Let's see what else you can do. And one of the most important things to be grateful about is your own body, because we live inside our body and we need our body for everything, and our body is tirelessly working 24/7 to keep us safe, to digest our food, breathe air for us, to eliminate toxins, to fight off infections and all kinds of invasions on the microscopic level. So there are many things also to be grateful for about your own body. So that will also help you have a more harmonious relationship with your body, and probably experience less pain and less, um, stress in your body. So that's a very important thing to do also. Don't only focus on gratitude for external things, things you see around you, but also focus on what's inside you. And it's a beautiful way of living, and I really encourage you to adopt that. And then, of course, when you are around people who are spiritual, who do work on themselves, and who are in this spiritual place and personal growth place and all that, of course you will express gratitude to them also, because they will not weaponize it against you like toxic people do. They will probably reciprocate it, and just it will deepen your relationship with them as well, and the connection with them, because most people like to feel appreciated, and that can also be a way of bonding with other people and connecting deeper. And for friendships, or group in church, or community of any kind, if you base your relationship upon gratitude and appreciation, you'll see that you'll bond much faster with people, people who are receptive to it, I mean. And I think that should be actually at the base for all relationships, respect and gratitude and appreciation. But that's an ideal world. We're not there yet. In the real world, there are so many forces, as I said, negative forces trying to weigh us down and trying to drag us down, to keep us stuck on low frequency levels of consciousness, where reality is a struggle, so that we don't see what's happening on the large scale, and we'll see what is immediately in front of us, because we have to deal with that. And it often comes with a sense of urgency, like, oh, I have to do this right now, and like, we are stuck in this small reality, this small box, so to speak, and we don't make connections, on the deeper levels of reality, and also we don't see all the things that the group controlling the world is doing either, because they hide it from us, but often they hide it in plain sight. So also when we focus on gratitude, it's easier to connect the dots and see the bigger picture, because then you are not so divided, so separated, because that's one of the many things that negativity does to us. It divides us both within ourselves and from other people. So it's a way of living that, it cuts reality in small slices, so that you only see a very small portion of what is going on. But when you develop and cultivate gratitude, among other things, to empower yourself and to raise your frequency, then it's easier also to see the bigger picture and connect the dots, because you will have a more neutral approach and not as biased, because negativity is very biased. And negativity in and of itself is not bad. I mean, we need negativity to some extent, because that assures our survival. I mean, negativity, what does that do to you? That keeps you alert to discover threats. And, our ancestors, if they were not alert to threats, they would be eaten alive by wild animals. But that's not our reality now for most of us. But that's like a legacy from historical times. And we need to have some sense of negativity to be alert to threats, and not to be too naive, and not to be too, optimistic. Optimism is great, but we cannot, put our put our head in the sand either, because then we will not see all the pitfalls, and then we can fall into pitfalls and make mistakes and suffer unnecessarily. So we need to have a balanced approach. But what I'm trying to convey here is that when we live by default, we live in a state of negativity a great extent of the time. And that is not balanced at all. That is very biased, and that keeps us very small, and that is fear-based, and that keeps us in survival mode, but doesn't allow us to develop our full potential. So gratitude is a great way of raising your frequency, and makes you see more, a broader perspective, and also it makes you feel good. Of course, who wouldn't like to feel like, oh, life is beautiful, and I live in a beautiful place, and surrounded by loving, supportive people, all that kind of things. Because when you cultivate gratitude, also you become more attractive for other people, because they feel safe around you, and feels good to be around you. You have good vibes, so to speak. So there are many benefits from cultivating gratitude, and it doesn't take away your balanced approach, or your critical thinking, or your being aware of what's going on around you, or being alert to threats, because there are threats around us. We cannot deny that, but we don't have to live in this very tight, tunnel vision place, a negativity place, where we attract more problems for the fact that we are focusing on them so much. So I hope this makes sense, that gratitude will help us in so many ways, both raising our frequency, connecting with the divine, improving our own relationships with other people, improving our relationship with our own body, feeling more secure in the world, and also to see the beauty of life and the place where you live and where you spend most of your time, because there are many things to be grateful about. So you can just, start writing, or start meditating, and, repeating, thank you for, whatever it is that you're grateful for. And it doesn't matter if it's a small thing or if it's something big, because you don't have to wait until big things happen, like you get a big promotion, or you buy a new house, or your romantic partner goes down on their knee to propose to you. You don't have to wait those big events in your life, to feel feel grateful and cultivate gratitude. You can be anything, small things. Like even thank you for letting me eat every day. Thank you for having a home where I thrive. Thank you for having an income. Thank you for having loving, supportive people around me. Thank you for anything. I mean, even if it's a rainy day, like thank you for the rain, because that gives water to the nature, so the nature can be green and lush and abundant and thrive, because vegetation needs water. So even when it's rainy and you see those gray clouds, and it looks like not very welcoming, or like you want to be indoors, but that's great for nature. And that is what makes great nature green and lush and abundant. So we need rain also, so even that you can be grateful for. And if you're like me, like you love to be in nature and pick blueberries and stuff, that's season for that right now in Sweden. And you need rain for that also, otherwise they won't grow. So you can be grateful for anything. It's a matter of being determined and focusing things, focus on things that you're grateful for, and you can find gratitude. I mean, you can find reasons for gratitude anywhere and everywhere. You just have to be determined to find them. All right, so hope this was inspiring, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And what other things you do other than gratitude journal, prayer and meditation? What else have you been doing to cultivate gratitude? I'd love to hear from you. So drop a comment in the comment section. And if you'd like to work with me one-on-one with any work, I'll also put the link for consultation calls, free 15 minutes consultation calls, and I'd be happy to help you on your healing journey and your spiritual journey. This would be all for now. Take care, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.